everybody. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Mike
H.
H.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. How are you?
I am the only Mike in the room, so what?
You are, because Beth has historically called you Mike H.
Yeah.
Because
And-
Josh
that, Beth?
B is now talking to you along with Johan.
Hey.
Hey.
I don't know
Thank you,
why.
Beth B.
Just my nickname.
Yeah.
Remember, Mike, in my family, if we like you, we give you a nickname. So that's a compliment.
Mike H?
Yeah,
All
Mike
well,
H.
That's,
Yeah.
You
It's
could have
better
worse
than-
nicknames.
Yeah.
yes, I
could
certainly
call you
a bad
have.
worse
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely have. So, everybody have a good weekend?
Yeah. I'd be curious what our nicknames were, but that's for another podcast.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
No,
Good.
I don't
No.
know.
That's
The
a
worst ones.
That's a much
Okay.
better topic. What was your nickname?
So in high school, I had a couple of different nicknames in high school, but when I played baseball, growing up, you just never know what you don't know, and I never owned a fitted hat until I was ninth grade and made the high school baseball team, and I had to get a fitted hat.
Yeah.
And I wear like a size 8 fitted hat. I didn't know that was big.
Yeah.
And so I garnered the name Head. And so, here comes Head to the plate. And I'm like, what are we talking? Like, what is going on? And so I was made fun of because I have a giant head. And so I think it's good that seemingly I'm bigger, that my head doesn't look disproportional.
It's that, you know
Sure,
what it
yeah.
is?
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
it's that big brain in there.
Something, but
Let's
it
go.
never
Yeah.
transit.
Let's
The
go with
correlation
that.
never made it.
Let's go
to the
with
You
that.
and
grades.
Peyton Manning.
I know.
Yeah.
Just like, see, greatness.
Goodness gracious.
When
Yeah.
you buy baseball hats, do you have to get an extra?
So what
large?
is great, and this is kind of fun for it, I generally don't wear hats because I can't find them because I have such a big head.
Sure.
So Rick Lashne, who's a church member
Yeah.
and owns a cattle company and has created a really cool line of hats, like all kinds of different designs on them. He's also a fellow brother with a giant noggin, and he bought the Richardson. Like if you like hats, you know what that is, the Richardson brand. But he bought the XL version. So before, whenever you do snapbacks, I would have to do the very last one,
And it's holding on.
and
for
maybe
your
put
life.
tape on it to extend it and put it on my head. And now I don't have to because he bought the XL version, and so now it looks like a normal
Wow.
That's
normal
the
fit. But
best.
if it was on either of all of you three's head, it would look like the funny baseball hats that you've seen
Yeah, they're
lately.
too big. Like,
They're
it's
sitting out here.
gigantic.
That's interesting because
That's so
like
funny.
just looking at you, like I wouldn't.
I know.
Your head looks proportionate.
Proportionate
I guess. So,
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. I
So,
want to
I have
know
wide shoulders.
Johan and Mike's nicknames.
Yeah. Well, let's let Johan go
Okay.
first because I'm still struggling to think of what mine would be.
The only one that comes to mind is I got called Yo-Yo a lot because you know Yo-Ho.
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
good
So
one.
they'd be like, Yo-Yo. You know, that just kind of stuck.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's about
I
it.
think I'll call you Yo-Yo. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Michael has a lot of nicknames for me. Michael's sitting over there.
Oh, boy.
He's called me all
Our
sorts of things
audio
over the years.
engineer.
You can't say that. HR will.
What's your favorite one, Michael?
No. His lips are sealed.
Zipped up.
He's refusing to speak.
Beth, what about you? What was your nickname?
Oh, okay. So I have 3 brothers. I'm the only girl, so they called me sister. You know, and my dad called me that. Which would, when you hear him say that, you're like, "Is that her sister?" But no, he just called me that because the boys did. But when I was at First Baptist Church Gulfport, this sweet, sweet man, he was in the Grace Ministry, and he called me Sparky.
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 That's a fitting name.
Oh, thank you. I love that nickname.
Yeah.
That was a good nickname.
So when I was, so here's one I could think of. So when I was in like middle school, like I'm not a big person now, but I was like really tiny.
Oh.
Like, you know, it was like between 8th and 9th grade is when I kind of had some sort of growth spurt. But before that, like I was a pretty small guy. And so there was a guy in middle school that used to call me Shrimp.
Oh,
Shrimp. Yep.
shrimp.
How'd that make you feel? Do we need to have a counseling
No,
moment?
it
right here?
actually, looking back, it didn't offend me. It just kind of, he was also very protective of me. So,
Oh, well, there you go.
yeah. So
There you go.
I was grateful for that. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I love
yeah,
that.
that's kind of a sad story now. That's
Trip down memory lane.
He was
Yo-yo,
fine with it till
Sparky,
Josh
shrimp.
brought it up. Now he's going to be the counselor this afternoon.
I know.
Thanks, Josh.
I need to go.
All
Man, I
right.
need to go see my counselor.
Well, that's all Hevel. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
Hevel.
That's
That's right. That's
All
right.
Hevel.
Speaking of, so
Speaking
we
of.
finished Ecclesiastes.
I am sad.
Hey.
Are you?
We did. Yes. I've really, really enjoyed this series for me, just personally getting to study it because I think a couple of things. Number one, the novelty of it. I've never studied it. I've read it,
Yeah.
but never studied it. And so I would say of all the other books of the Bible, most all of them I've studied on some level. Ecclesiastes just is one of those that I didn't. And probably if as you journeyed with us, you would maybe know why. Because if you're not doing the background work, the deep dive, the poetic language can get kind of wonky.
Yeah.
Like especially chapter 12. If you didn't have the background information, you're like, what in the world? Are we talking about the grinders are ceasing, the birds are chirping, the grasshopper's dragging himself along on his belly? Like, what does that mean? And then when you study, you're like, okay, that not only makes sense, that's scary. Because that is coming for all of us. And so anyway, it has been a joy to go through this. And now that it's over, I find a great sense of accomplishment, just personally, just getting to study through this, but also for our church. Like I think the conversations that have happened over the last 12 weeks have been unique because everything else in the Bible, not to disparage any part of the Bible, but sometimes you can get to the New Testament and everything's a bit Pollyanna-ish, right? So it's always positive, encouraging K-love, right? It is, hey, this is the best. Hey, you should do all this. And Ecclesiastes is a little bit of the opposite. It's like, hey, life sucks.
Yeah. You're going to die.
And you're going to die and life is unjust. And that's just true. That's true today. And that doesn't change the fact that God is good. I find myself resonating more with that than I do some of the more positive, encouraging side of the New Testament. All good. All of it's good. I've just really enjoyed the honesty of Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had deacons meeting yesterday, and you shared something really personal with the deacons. That just like what this book has meant to you. And for me, now I've shared openly. I try to be as this is the line I always use. I try to be as open as I can be as your pastor, and you still allow me to be your pastor about my life and mental health issues and just kind of all the things. But as a person who is chronically anxious and chronically overthinks most things, this last season of my life since my mom passed in 24 kind of spiraled me into a place of, I joked yesterday at the deacons meeting, of a midlife crisis because, 40s, I didn't think that was midlife. Maybe I was going to save that for like 50s or later, but it's certainly where I was because it's an existential moment of when my mom passed away. There was a little bit of I'm no longer a kid because I don't have a mom here anymore. And at 40, then I was 41. At 41, I'm having to find a way to navigate my life for the very first time without a mama on this side. And weirdly, that's harder than I expected it to be. And from that, I got really scared about some things, and mostly about my own mortality. Because I'm hypochondriac by nature, like the headache would be the brain cancer, the tremor in the hand would be ALS, the loss of the ability to find a word that I'm looking for is here we go. It's Alzheimer's. It's some sort of dementia already setting in early age. Like all of these things, and I know that may sound strange, but for those who struggle with it, you get it. And that continued to say, oh no, this life is coming to a close faster than I think it is. What do I do? And I found myself frozen. Like I wouldn't do a lot of things at all. Like I wouldn't stretch myself in life. Like I wouldn't physically, I wouldn't exercise. I didn't want to eat right. I didn't want to do these things. And through counseling and through some medication, like I had a different outlook, but I didn't really know why. And then I get to this book and studying for it before we started preaching it started to open my eyes. And I read a book, and I said, I think we talked about it one time on the podcast, and it'd be a good book for you. It's called Starting with the End in Mind, and it's a book about Ecclesiastes. And it's this idea of, hey, you're going to die. That's how it begins. But because you're going to die, and because it's coming sooner than you think, there's a lot of stuff you need to get done between today and that day. So every breath you have left matters for the kingdom and for you. And that started to do something in me. And the more I read in this, the more it started to heal whatever it was that was scared in me. I wouldn't say that I'm all the way better, but I would say almost miraculously, my life is different in these last 12 weeks than it was before we started. And my mind is more clear on mortality. That certainly I am going to die. I know that, but it's not scary anymore. In some ways, it's a bit of excitement. And I pray that time comes when I'm about 90 or Chuck Norris style, like I'm kickboxing and I go out in Hawaii at 89 or however old he was.
That's the way to go.
Dude, how great would that have been? Anyway, that being said, like, hey, however it happens, the Lord's got it. And it may happen in a just, glorious manner where we're old in age and we die in our sleep.
And you hold hands with Katie and you'll go out together.
As we go out together, or it may
that's
go
not what
out
happened,
unjustly in a terrible accident at a very young age. Or both of those are very possible and plausible. But either one's okay because God is sovereign over all of it.
Yeah.
And so something about this has
Oh yeah,
has
and I
touched something in my
resonate
soul.
Josh, resonate with you on that because I lost my dad this past week, or as they say, he got his promotion and went to heaven. And I love that little saying. That's great because he knew the Lord. All that was peaceful. But one of my first thoughts was, because my mom passed away 15 years ago, I'm an orphan.
Yeah.
And I know my age chronologically, but having that parent, that was solid for me. And so just working through that in the days ahead, I'm going to go back and listen to some of the sermons of Ecclesiastes and walk through that. And also celebrate, the life that I have, but living with the end in mind. There's an urgency, I think, that I have felt.
Yeah.
And an excitement to do what God's called me to do.
Yeah.
That's right. The older you get, if we only live with under the sun in view, then I think you can get scared. And it's probably right that you think, oh, this is all there is, and it's all hevel, right? But with the picture that Solomon paints is that this is all there is under the sun, but this isn't all there is to us.
Absolutely.
So at some point, your body does go back to dirt, but your soul's going to go back to God, and you're going to give an account. Like he holds all things in judgment, and you are going to give an account for the life that you lived and the life that was trusted to you. And that shouldn't be a scary thing. That should be a joyful thing to say. Like my kids, and we talked about it last week, like with Lydia, hey, Daddy, watch me. Like, hey, look at all the things I did, Dad. Look at the life that I got to live with all the things, instead of, oh no, I don't have anything. And Jesus speaks to that in some of the New Testament parables, right? So life matters. Time is not long, and everything we do on this side of eternity matters. So let's get to work.
Absolutely.
Ecclesiastes, welcome. That's the overview.
There you go.
So you talked about the word sakar in your message, and the idea of living ever before the face of God, and so I think you spent a little time talking about what practically what that could look like for people and those who are listening. But maybe we talk about for just a few moments, like what does that look like for us personally, like to live with the mindset that.
Yeah, to remember God.
Yeah, in everything that we do.
Yeah, what would y'all say?
Man, for me, since everyone's looking over here,
It just seemed like a great way all went.
I try to always be mindful of my why. I think society, we always talk about what and when. And if you're disciplined, you think about how. But we rarely talk about why. And it's funny, like we talked about this in our life group, but like kids have this, because it kind of came out of verse 1 of remember your creator in the days of your youth. And there's something, youthfulness and curiosity sometimes go hand in hand. And especially when you have littles, because they just want to know everything and why. And at some point we're like either we grow beyond or we're told not to, stop asking why. But I think as believers in Christ, we have to be mindful of like, wait, okay, so here's what I'm doing, or here's what I would like to do. Why do I want to do that? Does it fall in with what the Bible says I should be devoting my energies and my thoughts and my days to? Or is it just like, oh, I just like it and I want to do it, or like everyone else is doing it and I don't want to get left behind. Like I don't want to be like the random person that doesn't do it. Like that's kind of weird. Like I don't want to be that. So let me just chase it. And so living with what is my internal motivation. And then I think sometimes it's nice to have a tangible reminder. So like, I've kind of been, doing some counseling. And, that was one of the things that he mentioned. It was like, man, having a tangible reminder. So I got this little bracelet, a couple months ago. Actually, Aubrey got it for me. So thanks. But it has the names, it has 3 rings, one for each of our kids. And it's just a tangible reminder for me of, in the moments and, when they're not eating dinner or they're not wanting to listen at bedtime, or just, just to remember like, hey, there's more at stake than just order. And so, because, I'm a big order person. I like things to be in order. I like
never
things.
noticed that about you.
I know. Surprise! That's my nickname, Mr. Order, I guess. But just realizing that, hey, love is more important than order, and teaching is more important than correction. And so it's just a tangible reminder. Like when it's sliding around, or when I get upset, I'm like, kind of fidgeting with it. So if you see me, see me doing this, it's like that. That's why.
Johan's upset again.
There he is. There he goes, Mr. Order.
There's the yo-yo's temper.
But no, that's exactly what it is. And so, but just keeping those things in mind, because like you said, the days are short, but at the same time, that's why they're precious. Like if you have an endless amount of something, its worth goes down.
Right.
That's inflation. For those that are economically minded,
There you go.
there's too much of something, so
Supply and
its
demand.
worth goes down. And that's why, like you mentioned, like later on in the chapter, the gold bowl and the silver thread. It's
Right.
like the reason those items are precious is because there's a limited amount of them, and so their worth goes up. And so the limited amount of time can, if you're not careful, that can lead you to maybe like, oh man, like this is bad. That's horrible. Like I wish I had more time. And it's like, well, yeah, we can all wish we had more time, or but the truth is, the reason today is so precious and so valuable is because I'm not necessarily promised tomorrow, or I'm not promised endless days on this side of eternity. And so, man, let's get busy doing it. So I think just having that intentional mindset of like, God, why have you given me this moment? What do you want me to do in this moment? Why did you put this person in my life? Like, what do you want me to say? And if we kind of just remember that why, and remember like, hey, I'm the hands and feet of Jesus. Like, what do you want me to do today? Like, my life is yours. 1 Corinthians 4:1 says that we are slaves of Christ, or servants of Christ, and stewards of the mysteries of God. So it's like, hey, this life, your message, everything you've given me, it's actually yours. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'll obey you. So just kind of keeping that mindset for me has been really helpful, recently.
And keeping that mindset, how would y'all say you do that on an average day? I'm really good when big events happen, and you're all sensitive to everything. And but how do you do that in everyday life? We talked about that a little bit in the pre-podcast, like in living in light of the decisions you're making, in light of the brevity of life. What does that look like practically for people?
Yeah, I think it differs on the different days of life. So, for example, we're in the Lenten season, and some people, some Protestants practice Lent, some don't. We practice Lent, and it feels like every day there's a reminder. So when I wake up in the morning, like there's a sense of I am still abstaining from things that to keep my mind and heart focused on Him. And so I find in the Lenten season, because I crave certain things mostly all day that I'm abstaining from, that my mind can be focused on Him, which is probably why Jesus says, not if you fast, but when you fast. And it should be a better principle for us, because it's in our fasting that we're more reliant on Him. But I find myself, when I am not abstaining from anything, that I am probably less sensitive to what the Lord thinks or desires or has for me in a moment. And I'm more in the big things. Oh, this seems big. I think I'll ask the Lord's wisdom or permission on this. But in seasons that are this of dependent upon Him, I find when I wake up, my first breath is, okay, Lord, I'm not even out of the bed. What do you want for me today? And as I'm drinking my coffee, Lord, this coffee is bitter this morning. I know that life sometimes is bitter. Help me navigate. Like there's a sensitivity to it in this season, which is probably should tell me I should be more like that all year round. But I also can't wait till Easter so my Lenting season can be over.
Yes.
So I can be freed from what I've committed myself to, which is weird. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But I've really enjoyed this season, and so it's helpful for that.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, years ago, I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but years ago I read the book, the Brother Lawrence, the Practicing the Presence of God, and which was really helpful for me, just to be constantly aware. I should probably reread it, but constantly aware of God in every moment. Again, I wish I were better about that. I mean, there are lots of times that I I sort of am unaware in the way that I approach life. But I found too that just in my personal like scripture reading and things like that, to make it a habit of choosing, if I'm reading a passage, of choosing a verse or something that really meant something or stood out to me, and meditating on that throughout the day, like just my mind coming back to it and thinking on it. If I find myself with some downtime, or instead of pulling out my phone and scrolling, it's like thinking on, okay, what is God telling me through that? Which interestingly, makes me much more aware of His presence and what He may be, how He may be leading me in other things. So it's just a practice of being aware that He's with me, He's present, and I'm not doing anything apart from His knowledge or presence with me. And so, yeah, but it's a practice and a discipline, sort of. You have to focus your mind. Kind of like the Lent thing for you. It's that discipline is what helps you and reminds you. So
yeah, and the group think. I think one thing that we talk about often is the importance of community and how God designed us for community, but also think how we remember God is a communal. It should be a communal exercise, because there's sometimes I can think through things and I'm going to be more generous to what I want and probably less sensitive to what God may have for me. But if I ask people who do everyday life with me, who are speaking into normal everyday things, hey, because they love the Lord and they're in the Word as well, and they know me in a way that probably most people don't know me, they can speak to things in my life and call things into question or encourage things that I'm feeling defeated about in a way that most other people can't. And then if I relied only on what I thought in the moment or what my heart was telling me in the moment, I'm probably going to be easily either discouraged or led astray. But if I have other people in my life speaking truth in, I probably have a better chance of sakar, of remembering God before all things.
No, that's right. That's
so
good.
people matter.
Oh, yeah.
So you talked about let's see what well, this actually really resonated with me. You talked about a distinction. You made a distinction, I think, between like forfeiting today's joy to chase tomorrow. And so and I don't know, that just really resonated with me, because I do find myself, and I wrestle with the tension, I guess, of how concerned I should be about tomorrow. Let's take retirement planning, for instance. Saving and really trying to earn, so that I can save and have security in this future moment that actually may not come, but versus, and sometimes I can find myself, I could be so wrapped up in that it's like I forget to actually enjoy what I have today, and I think that's the tension you were talking about. And although that probably fleshes out in lots of different ways for different people, but so how do we find that balance of I think being mindful of tomorrow and responsible. And not just living recklessly, but also enjoying what God has given us and enjoying the life that we have right now that He's blessed us with.
Oh, yeah. And I think one thing we look at retirement with the idea of our loved ones that we're leaving behind. Are we leaving a burden for them? I guess walking through that with my dad, and I sit down with Graham and Carson, I go, okay, we got the plan. Let me tell you about the plan when I pass away. And both my boys were like, don't talk about this right now, Mom. But I'm like, I'm living in light of that, so you need to know. And although that's a truth, none of us know if we have tomorrow. But when you lose a parent who's 87, you translate that to your own life and say, okay, now when I'm 87, these are the things that I would like for y'all not to have to do for me, or I would like to be able to have enough money to take care of myself. And I think if you look at in light of your love for your loved ones coming behind you, I think that's a good balance instead of let me not even enjoy today because I'm saving for tomorrow because then I'm going to do all these great things.
Mm-hmm.
No, you got today.
Right.
Yeah.
Eat that donut. You know what I'm saying? Go take that trip.
Right.
Yeah.
Call that friend you hadn't talked to in a while. Live in light of the gift that God has given us today.
Yeah. I think it's wise.
Yeah.
I wish there were a formula. I wish the Bible said, "Hey, here's how much you should focus on tomorrow.
It's
Here's
a
what you should
percentage
focus on today." Yeah,
60% tomorrow.
It doesn't. Sadly, it doesn't say that. And probably I would assume for different seasons, if they were to give formulas, the formula would change. And there's the reason he starts this chapter with, "Hey, youngins, I need you to focus more on God." And then when you get to the end of it, if you caught it, he said, "Hey, there's so much the world is going, there's so many books to be made, and it's going to cause you vexation," right? So if you're young, you don't care. And when you're old, you care too much. And so the happy medium is probably somewhere right in between where you should always realize that you're ever before the face of God, and you should also not necessarily worry about what happens next. So younger, worry a little bit more. Older, worry a little bit less, and find that sweet spot to enjoy this moment, but also plan a little bit for the future. And again, that may be more muddy than clear, but I think there is a beauty to that because the next step of that is just faith.
Yeah.
Because the Spirit is going to lead you some days to say, for this season, this is what I want you to do. And then for this season, this is what I want you to do. And they may not look
The same.
They may not look the same. So we were saying pre-show, like for us as the Brady family, when we were at New Palestine, we didn't do retirement. And that was almost a decade of younger years, which is usually when you want to do retirement because of the compounding interest. And it wasn't in the ability for us to give towards retirement, or at least not substantially, because of what it would cost to live in the moment and to minister in the moment. And so now that we have an opportunity to give to retirement, we find ourselves in a tension point of, I feel a responsibility to make up for the decade that I didn't. And so I'm leveraging a lot of what I make to a retirement fund, which gives me in front of me not as much as I potentially could use for kingdom work today. And that's a spiritual tension that I hold. Lord, is this selfish? Is it selfish to give to a retirement fund because I feel like I missed something and now I'm making up for it? Or are you leading me to do this? Because having cared for an aging parent who needed care, money at the end matters. And if you have none, it's not necessarily a burden, because we would say it doesn't matter. They're our parents and we're going to take care of them no matter what. But if my mama would have had more money, she would have received a lot better care than what she had at the end, because she had nothing. And so there's a part of it we live and parent and exist from our scars. So I looked at how my mama ended her time, and I'm like, I ain't doing that unless the Lord says do that. I ain't going out like that. So I found myself saying, okay, here's some. I'm stacking it up. I'm putting these, to quote Sean Selman, I'm putting these acorns in the tree, so we can have food for later on. And so there's a tension, and I wish I could tell you I knew the formula. Yeah, I don't, and that's why it's a tension every day.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's a healthy balance. I think anything to the extreme, only future oriented or only right now,
right? Yeah, either one's probably not great.
Probably not the wisest thing to do. But you made a suggestion of like, take that trip, and for us, I don't know who it was that told us, but they're like, you get 18 summers with your kid. That's it. And the clock is ticking. And so even as I was thinking of like, man, I got 12 summers left with Benjamin, our oldest. And so, we've been like, all right, let's be wise, let's save, but one of the things that is never taken away is memories. And I think a lot of
100%
the investment, sometimes we only think of it as like, financial investment to be given as an inheritance or to help. But it, as again, as a worship guy, we've probably done and was, pastor. It's like you participate in many funeral services, and the things that you keep hearing that everyone remembers is not necessarily like, oh, they gave us this, they did this.
Right.
You know,
No.
it's always the time they spent,
Always the time.
the memories.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, you know, for the sake of, man, not forsaking right now, because we live with the future in mind, but then there are things that, like, man, you may miss out on something that will never return.
That's right.
Like the young kid phase, it's like that
yeah.
never comes back. They'll always be your kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And that relationship will be there, but that moment, that little season will
It's so
never
precious.
return.
It's
And so
precious.
just kind of having that healthy balance of, you know, we want to be wise, but at the same time take advantage of a season that is short.
Absolutely. And my brothers and I were laughing the other night because my mom stayed at home. My dad was a salesman. So they didn't have a lot of extra money, but they saved money for vacation. And we went to Panama City Beach. Every year, my cousins went, and they got some kind of little thing where you cooked inside. You know, I mean, you had a little kitchenette.
Yeah.
And we ate we didn't go out to eat or anything, but they took us to the beach every year. And we have so many great pictures and great memories and great stories. And that will never take that trip with those babies.
It's so
Me too.
it's so strange too, because like I'm at this stage of life, you know, where our daughter's grown, she's married, she just had our first grandchild, and you know, and I found this over the past several years. I spent a lot of time reflecting back on her early years, and I think even when she was home visiting one time, you know, I even asked her, like, just in a really serious moment, kind of like, you know, what was it like growing up with me?
Oh,
You know,
wow.
like,
That was vulnerable.
yeah, and she was very gracious, and which I'm grateful for. But you know, I really, you know, I spent a lot of time thinking back and wondering, man, should I have done things differently? Are there things I could have done better? Or you know, and some of it's just missing those moments, you know, when your kids are young. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, and about the retirement thing, I was thinking, you know, ironically, and he's talking to the young people, but the younger you start to think about that, the less you have to worry about it
Later. That's right.
you know?
Yeah.
Again, so it's it's an interesting thing. If you don't think about it when you're young, you know, if you want to retire comfortably or have enough, you know, you gotta catch up.
That's right.
Hey, last thing, maybe we might have time for more, but this has come up in my life group a couple of times throughout this series, and so I think it's worth mentioning here. So the passage at the end talks about so the last verse: "For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil." So you know, in light of the gospel. In light of what we know about the New Testament, you know, as people think about judgment or they think about their deeds coming to light as believers, like, is that something that should be terrifying? Or is that something that in light of Christ that, you know, we should think differently about?
Yeah. Well, I think if you rightly understand it, it should be not terrifying, because Romans is pretty clear that anybody who is in Christ is no longer condemned, right? So there is, we're free in Christ, and He has paid it. I think the point that Solomon attempts to make here, it is beautiful, because this is also one of those things I think helped heal something inside of me. Because I find myself, and this goes back to years of counseling and being a mama's boy and being with a single mom until I was about 9, and that's where, you know, I was Josh Rubion and now I'm Josh Brady and a whole thing. But this idea of having to be a protector, or seeing in my early childhood a lot of hard things that I couldn't fix, that I felt like, and this is kind of wild, that as I've gotten older or younger in my older days, I felt like I had to be bigger. Or my counselor says I learned to be a bullfrog, that in moments that were scary, I would puff up. Either, and that could be getting loud, or that could be boisterous, or that could be proactive instead of reactive. So if I could strike first, they can't strike me. And so that helped in football. got me a long way, a long way down the field in football. Not so much in church ministry.
Okay, yeah.
I got plenty of scars to show for those stupid moments and signs of my stupidity. But what he says in verse 14 isn't you need to fear God because he's going to get you. He says you can fear God and obey his commands and not worry about anything else because he's going to take care of everything else. Because what he says is, for God will bring every deed into judgment, every secret thing, whether good or evil. He doesn't say he's going to bring your deed into judgment. So he's not pointing it at you saying, you better get right or you're going to get left. You better turn or you're going to burn. What he's saying is, God's got it. You don't need to be him. You don't need to act like him. You don't need to protect people. You don't need to do what God is doing. You can leave God to him. What you need to do is trust him and just do what he's asked you to do. But God, what about that time? I got it.
Yeah.
What about 30 years ago and that deep pain that still lives in me? No. To me, it's still as of today, and I got it. So you don't have to worry about that.
He'll bring it to light.
Whether it's good or bad, I see everything, and everything is holding on the scales of this life, and everything will be called into judgment. Don't worry about that. You worry about trusting me. You worry about loving me, and you worry about doing what I told you to do. And that's the narrow way that leads to life, right? So that's the invitation that Jesus gives in Matthew 7. And he says, look, the wide road that leads to destruction, many are going to find it. And that wide road is what he says here. Man, the world has tons of wisdom it wants to give you. There's 1,000 ways you can do this life, and that's true. You can do this life 1,000 different ways. There's only one way that's going to lead to life, and that's Jesus. And in Jesus, there's a full surrender, not a partial surrender, not a 99% surrender. It's a full surrender, the hard, the secret, and the bad, and the ugly. And we say, I'm still mad about this. I still got scars from this. I still wish I could have changed that. I still wish I could see that guy again because I would. But here, you got it. And I can just trust you now, and I can just do what you call me to do. Hopefully, rightly understood, that leads you to a life of freedom and peace.
Right.
Not a life of fearing, oh no, God's going to get me. Because if he wanted to get you, he'd already got you.
Right.
Like, well, there's nothing for him to wait on. Like we, the indictment is over. Like we are guilty where we stand. This is a message of freedom. He's got us.
Thank
We
you
can
for
trust
Because
that.
him.
early on in the book, it's like, what do you do when the unjust or the wicked prosper
Right.
and they die in their prosperity? Like,
That's right.
So it's like, yeah, that it's that lack of balance, but it's like in the end,
Right.
God's got it. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Hey, great conversation, and really great series. Like far better than I anticipated that it would be. You know,
Maybe a lot of people anticipated Mark Evans. Where are you today?
It was very potent.
This was a
This was a potent sermon series.
Yeah.
so
I like that potent.
So a few things just to keep in front of our people or those who are listening. We are, as we sit right now, we're 2 weeks away from Easter.
Yeah, we are.
And so this Sunday is Palm Sunday. We've got the
love
journey
Palm Sunday.
is going to be our Sunday services Sunday service this week, and it's sort of a dramatic retelling of Jesus' Passion Week, and so. It's really great. It's going to be music. It's going to involve some drama and all of our high schoolers and some of our middle
that's
schoolers,
gonna be
kids,
great.
preschool.
Don't miss it, people.
Yeah, no, it really will.
9:15. Be
It's
in
going to be
your
great.
seats.
So,
Right.
Easy.
and then on Easter weekend, we've got 3 services. So there's one on Saturday night
Yeah.
at 6:00. There's also 2 on Sunday morning. So one at 9:30 and one at 11:00. And so, come.
And we're packed.
Yes, particularly the 9:30 service is always really packed. So if you want to avoid the most crowded service, come on Saturday night or
There
come
you
at 11
go.
o'clock on Sunday.
I love that. I'm going to do a commercial real quick for people, Broadmoor members. If you'd like to help in the nursery, I'll say that for Kendra.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 services, and what a great opportunity to serve in one of those services. So holler at preschool people, Kendra, Becky.
And some people actually do come on Saturday night so that they can serve on Sunday.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
not just in nursery, but there are lots of places
Lots
we
of
can plug
places,
people
sure.
in.
Oh,
So.
welcome greeters. Oh, I'm forgetting everybody but Kendra. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I just know that our sweet babies come all dressed and ready for Easter, and often they need extra hands.
That's
too.
exactly right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, well, great conversation, and we'll look forward to next week. And
Yeah, we'll podcast about the journey. It'll be great.
that's right.
Yeah.
All right, love you
y'all.
guys.
Love you guys.
See ya.